Oh, good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? It's much warmer today out. I walked. I didn't need my gloves. It was seems like 40, 45 out. So we'll have a warm weekend for football, most importantly. A quick update. Silver 65.48. It was 66 and change. We'll take a look at that. And gold, the 10 o'clock drop took it to 43.15 and then right back to 43.40. What a joke. This is all just bullshit options. Nobody's selling an ounce of gold, as nobody should. Silver, same thing. This is just bullshit. They're trying to lower the price, but it's not going to work. If we look at our silver chart, you can see it was 66.30, 66.60, and then it dropped a dollar, almost $1.50. What the fuck was that? Just at 10 o'clock. Oh, what the fuck is that? And then it's back. We're back at 65.60, but we did hit 66, and we'll be back there. We'll be at 75 soon. They can't, when they do that, China will take delivery. And where are they going to get the silver bars to pay off this option, this short option? It blows my mind how stupid these people are. Anyway. So 1 year silver price is 129% right now. And a 1 year gold price is 67%. And I heard somebody on one of these videos say, silver's, it's going much higher than gold. Well, it's at $30. So 30 to 60 is 100%. That's only $30. Gold goes up $30 every day. So for gold to go up the same percentage, it's because it's 4,300, has to probably go up to 6,000, and it's not going to do that in a day. So the more I listen to these people, the dumber they sound. This Chinese guy's on every freaking channel. He must just be an AI thing, and they're all just going AI, and they're typing in AI this and AI that. I don't think it's an honest opinion at all. I think it's just AI doing what AI does, which is absolutely nothing. I don't like AI. I will never use it. I don't understand the purpose of it. It sounds stupid to me. So I'm better off analyzing my own games and my own things much better than AI can possibly ever do. Not a chance. So again, the markets, it's Christmas next week. Next Thursday's the 25th. It's amazing. Time just flies, and that's why you try to enjoy yourself. You try to stay healthy. You try to, you try to enjoy each day and have fun each day and watch what you eat. If you take a lot of alcohol and you wonder why you get sick, well, you did it to yourself. So not that people shouldn't drink, but just keep it in moderation, and maybe on Saturday or Sunday or during the football game, and then take it easy for 3-4 days and do a fast once a month, a couple days, at least a 48-hour fast, and then your body will clean you up. Daria, her kidneys are fine now, so I told her a lot of stuff, what to do. Mostly if you have kidney problems because you're dehydrated. You're not taking in enough water, and your kidneys flush, so they need a lot of water to flush. So if you're not drinking enough, or you're drinking a lot of coffee, tea, and pop, and alcohol, and not water, that's why your kidneys hurt. So just drink a lot of water. Be careful of antibiotics. They're really not good for you. I can see if you take them once in a blue moon to get over something, but generally you don't want to take them. You want to just heal yourself with fasting, really. It's the food you're putting in that makes you sick. So if you just heal that, you'll be fine. Let's see. Britain is burning down. A lot of protests. There's a lot of rapes going on there by these Islamics. These guys are animals. I don't know why they're all coming here and who's allowing that. I think I think the reason is like Starmer in Britain and Macron in France knows everybody hates them. So they bring in these Islamics and they say, well, we'll give you all this money. We'll put you up at a hotel, but you got to vote for me, keep me in power. And I think that's what it is. Now, I don't know if you can trust the Islamics. They don't know that they like it. They'll probably elect an Islamic guy, but it's a bad thing. And you're that's not the point of you being in the public eye. And as a government leader, you're supposed to lead what's best for the government or the people. You're not supposed to take bribes and kickbacks from George Soros and the defense contractors. You're not supposed to keep wars going between Russia and the Ukraine that have no business even beginning, no business going on, and why is it still going? So the defense contractors can sell more weapons to whom? Who are they selling them to? Europe is not. They're furious because Russia's not invaded any of the NATO countries. They really didn't invade Ukraine. This whole war is about the U.S. and England creating this war, causing it to keep going, paying off Zelensky, and he just keeps going. He's going to run to Israel, and he's got money in the banks in the U.S. and another country I can't remember. So he's just going to flee, him and his generals, whatever. They now have girls fighting in the war without being trained. This is some of the most sinister people are in there, and they're all thanks to George Soros. So George Soros is the big cause of this. There was a fight between Soros and Putin. Putin was trying to get him, and it's surprising Putin couldn't get him. And so Soros is keeping this war going, and he's betting that everybody will go bankrupt, which is what happens because wars are very expensive, and that's the point of this. We'll get into football. We'll get into the college playoff. There's very minor bowl games this week. I don't even know why they have bowl games this week, just so they can be on TV. Like nobody's going to watch them, so it's a waste of time. And then we got the pros. We have a game tonight. Now, what I noticed was Seattle went 2-point favorite. So that I was very happy to see because we like the Rams. As the dog, even if Davante Adams doesn't play. He's questionable now. We'll take a look at that. But I'll take Puka, and I got Tutu Atwell, and I got the tight ends, and I got a good running game, and I got a good defense. So it's not critical Davante Adams plays. If they are stupid enough to move the line to 2, I'm not worried about it. Puka made some interesting comments how bad the refs were, that they just wanted to get on TV, that they're making calls that aren't real so they can get on TV and say, hey, George, I'm on TV. It wasn't pass interference, but we called it that way so I could get on TV. So now we have refs that want to get on TV making bad calls so they can get on TV. I don't know what's wrong with the world right now. You've got idiots in charge of sports. You've got idiots in charge of countries. You've got all these wars. You've got immigrants coming into all these countries. Where are they all coming from? Iran, Iraq, Somalia, whatever. And everybody's just letting them in. I don't know. I fly into Spain. I got to go through passport control, and they stamp my passport. How are these guys getting in? They're taking a boat and just coming on shore, and everybody's like, come on. Yeah, no problem. We won't check your, you don't have a passport. Oh, no problem. We'll put you up at this nice hotel. We'll give you 3 meals a day. Just sit back and relax. This is insanity. Who's in charge of this? Who's letting this happen? They should all go to prison for the rest of their life. This is absolutely ridiculous. You're killing all the countries, Britain's broke, France is broke, Germany's in trouble. The US, we're broke. I mean, this is what kills me. People don't know, so they don't want to. They hear what they want to hear. They don't understand a $39 trillion debt. $1 trillion debt. They don't know what it is. They don't understand it, and they're not apparently bothered by it. You've got the news saying, "Oh no, you know what? They're going to use crypto to pay it off and gold to pay it." Well, we don't have any gold, so we're not using gold. Crypto is not ours. Crypto is whoever owns it, Mr. Fuji, and whatever else it goes through. So how can the government can't really, oh, well, they stole it. They took it when people were illegal money laundering and crypto. So instead of shutting down crypto, we stole it, and we're going to make this go to $1 million a coin, even though it's not real, to pay whom? Well, I'm sure Russia and China will accept Bitcoin for their treasuries. Are you insane? There's no way. So they're living in this fantasy, and it's just the news. Just yeah, today's Friday. I thought it was Thursday, but you know what? Gosh, they said it's Friday. I guess it is. It's so sad. I mean, it's just and people are just clueless. Well, I got my 401k and the company matches it, and it's in mutual funds, so I'm okay. I'm fine. Nothing will happen to me. Oh my God. And then you try to explain to them and nobody wants to hear. So anyway, Kayla Bowling, hello. Let's talk Thursday night football. Rams are now the dog. Okay. What do you want to say? You owe me $200, so I'm not talking to you till you are good on your agreement. We made it a contract, and you owe me for the whole year. I let you do that, and then you don't follow through on it. So I'm not talking to you about anything. I don't like when people A, take advantage of me, and B, basically lie to me and take my contract. That's not the people I deal with. So sorry. Anyway, you want the pick, pay for the pick. Well, look what happened. Gold just shot up to 43.61 as we're talking at 11 o'clock. And look at silver. Now silver's up to 66.18. Look how quickly it moves. So 66.11. It was 64. Then it was when we came on 65.40 or 50. And now here it is back over 66. So it moves a lot. It's all bullshit. Hi, OS. I'm fine. Thank you. How are you? Getting ready for Christmas? New Year's? 43.64. I like it. It just keeps shooting. All right. So anyway, there's a lot of bad people in charge. They don't really understand why they're in charge. And this Hanson's keeps calling me. So I don't understand that. I didn't ask for them to call. And then they said, you said you wanted this or that. So it's all bullshit. Hey, Greg and John. Wes, this time best buying is gold or silver. Well, you buy both of them. They're both going up. Uh, Silver's a little cheaper. Um, Gold is, gold we're seeing it 40. It's almost 4,400. Gold's going up to 5,000 to 10,000. So it's a little different. Silver being so cheap at 66 will go to 100. So on a percentage, you'll make more. It depends what you can afford. If you can afford gold, I would buy gold. If you can afford an ounce, I'd buy an ounce. If you don't have that much, this is a tenth of an ounce, and I would buy this. And quarter ounces are perfectly fine. And then silver. You can't go wrong buying either. Silver, because silver is an industrial demand. Silver is it's needed to make things as well as its money. So it's a double, and there's not as much silver. So people are losing. They're losing their mind over understanding that silver is not. There isn't any, so they have to buy it. So in other words, let's say you're making an airplane, for example, you're making what do the French do, the Airbus or Boeing, and let's say you need silver for the airplane. Well, the airplane's what, $1 billion, but you need silver in some of the compartments or the wheels or the steering or whatever I'm sure the components. So you're not going to build a plane. You're going to build because the silver went up in price. If you need silver, you're going to pay whatever for it. But as these companies like Apple and all these other ones need the silver to complete the product, they are realizing that it's very limited and it's going up in price. So they're buying a lot of it, but there isn't a lot to buy. So silver is just going to keep going up because it's scarce and people are going to buy it because they know they have to complete their product. They can't make the iPhone with a little bit of silver. So they'll buy it, but they'll panic and they'll buy a lot of it. And that's what they're doing. The phone companies sell to these solicitors. Yeah, I know, Greg. Yeah. I mean, but I blocked Hanson, so I don't know why but I'm noticing the number. It'll say 1-800-Hansons, but the number isn't Hansons. And, so they're saying, oh, you ordered a bench, or you ordered a paintbrush, or whatever it is that supposedly I ordered. And I just answered to hang up to block. But apparently it's a Ponzi scheme. So be careful getting calls from Hanson. But it depends on your money. If you had 10 grand, I would buy, you can only buy maybe 1 ounce of gold, a quarter ounce of gold, and then the rest I'd buy silver because gold's now going to cost you $4,500, and then a half ounce would be $2,200. That's almost 7,000 of your 10, and that leaves you 3,000. And I buy 3,000 in silver, but 3,000 in silver is now almost $70. So you're not going to get what you would have before. So I used to buy for 300, I'd get 10 ounces. Well, that's not what I'm buying now. Right. You for 10 for that, you're not now for 300 you get 4 ounces. So that's how gold works. I remember my friend took 100 grand and bought like 50 ounces of gold, and now he'd only get 25 ounces. So it's just the dollar's being crushed, but the price of the gold's going up. So yeah, I know they sell our numbers and everything, and that's just part of it. So that's right. Normally I answer and block, but it'll say potential spam on it. But it's just you get so many of them. The worst is when you're in the car and then your car answers the phone and you don't know if it's spam or not. So I got to look on my phone and see if it's spam or not. And if it's not spam, although most of them tend to be spam, even if it doesn't say spam. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, so buy all the gold and silver you can now. Again, it's running out and it's getting more expensive. I know the last few times I went to my gold store, he doesn't have any gold. He had two of these, and they were Eagles, and that was it. He had no ounces, no quarters, no nothing. And he says, "Well, as soon as I get gold in, it goes." People probably say, "Call me what's in," and then he makes his 200 because he'll sell it at 97%. So he makes $100 by under spot to buy it, and then he sells it for 200 over spot. So he's making 300 an ounce now. Problem is he doesn't get enough volume. What can he get? 10, 15 ounces? I mean, that's all he can get. So that's what's happening there. So, it depends, again, what you have, If you have enough to buy 4 or 5 ounces of gold, I would suggest you do that. I would also suggest you bought $1,000 worth of silver. I mean, you got to build your inventory, but I'd start with gold. Gold's the real McCoy. Silver is going to go through the roof. I mean, silver is going to hit 1,000, right? Gold's going to hit 10,000. So pick your poison, whatever you want. It's easy to put it this way. Let's say you're traveling. It's easier to carry 2 ounces of gold worth $10,000 each and carry 20,000 with 2 ounces of gold. How are you going to carry, they come in the 20 tubes, the 20-ounce tubes. So you got to carry 2 or 3 of those. And it's not worth nearly, so let's say it's $1,000 an ounce. You get 20 in the tube. That's 20,000. So 3 tubes is 60,000, or I could carry gold's 10,000, carry six coins like this in my pocket that nobody knows I have, and have the same 60,000. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I mean, you need both, and it depends on, are you working, what you're making, what your financial system looks like. But I would definitely start with some gold and then try to buy 5 ounces of silver, 10 ounces of silver also. You can't lose in either way. They're both going to the moon. Thank you, Alice. So good luck on that. Be careful. It's real. Buy from a store that you know is real. Bring a magnet. And if the magnet sticks, it's fake. So you know right away. Look out for the eBay China sellers who sell silver for $10 when you know it should be 70. So you know that's not real. If it doesn't look right, don't buy it. Gold looks gold. I mean, if I show you this, we have no question that this is real gold, right? Look how shiny it is, and it's gold. And the maple leaves are 24 karat, where most of them are 22 karat. So if it doesn't look right, be careful, but go to a store or a place that you're pretty confident you get it. And then I'd have it checked. Again, take a magnet. If it sticks, it's fake. And then go to a store and they'll put it on a machine and they'll measure the density and everything else. But basically, that's the beauty of gold and silver. You can't counterfeit it, because if you do counterfeit it, I take a magnet to it and it sticks, and I know, no, this isn't right. So be careful. You're buying real stuff. See, another potential stand. So I'll answer it to block it. All right. So again, look at gold and silver. They just ran. We come on, they're little, and then they run up. And but you're not to profit take. We are not profit taking this. As I said, I probably bought this at $200 or $100 years ago, and now it's worth, let's say, $500. I'm not profit taking. I have no thought of profit taking it, because you don't want to get back into the money. You don't want to get back on the Titanic. The Titanic's sinking. You don't want to get back on it. This is the Titanic. So you want to stay off of it and stay in your lifeboat. There's no reason to profit take. Now you can sell an ounce because you got to pay a bill or go on a vacation or something's needed. The kid's going to college, whatever, and you need some money. Okay. It'll be more when you get laid off or the job ends and now you need it. Then you might sell an ounce or two of gold for your living expenses. But try to keep money for that. So you keep a little bit of money for a couple months, and then so you don't have to sell the gold. But if you're working, just keep buying gold and silver. And if you need to just buy silver, buy it. Get out of dollar is the game. I want to get out of this. That's the game. All right. So let's talk some football. Now, I don't like when people lie to me and are breaking contracts with me. Not really good. So I will have to be careful talking today. Thanks to some person that's dishonest. So sorry about that. So tonight we got the Rams in Seattle. Seattle I got now is a 1.5-point favorite. I don't know if it's Devontae Adams, who's not out. He's got a bad hamstring, but we'll see if he plays, or maybe he'll just kind of be a decoy, just enough so they have to cover him, right? They're both 11-3. Next 2 months, 4,500, up or no? Yeah, I mean, I think by the end of the year, gold will be 4,500, and it's going towards 5,000. I wish it's just going to keep going up because people are realizing their dollar's no good, so they're just going to keep buying, and the price will go up. And the reason the price goes down is because COMEX shorts it. They can't do that anymore because people will take delivery. China and Russia and India will say, I want to take delivery of that option. And so there's less shorts in the game. And so you see these spikes that happen. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even look at it like that. I wish it'll be 5,000 soon. And silver will be 100 soon, on its way to 500, on its way to 1,000. I mean, there's no limit. It's just going to keep going up because nobody wants dollars. And in silver, they need it for demand for industrial as well as money. Gold is money because it's too expensive for industrial. So, yeah, you can't really time it like that. Just know where it's going. Right? It'll be 10,000. We don't care when, 2 months, 6 months. But at the end of the day, it'll be 10,000. All right. So the Rams at Seattle. So I did my teaser trends here. The Rams are 11-1 as a road favorite, 28-5 overall. Play against Seattle as a home dog is 6-0. Seattle has no trends on this. They're both A teams. The Rams are 21 defense. Seattle's 14 on the last 5. Right. I mean, Seattle gave up, 16 points to Phillip Rivers. So I'm not too worried. Stafford against Darnell. Should be a good game. Both teams need it. So usually you probably want to take the dog in a game where they're pretty even. Both teams need it. It will have a little rain. We'll look at the weather later. So I'm not really sure. I like the Rams as a dog more than I like Seattle as a dog. I just think Stafford and Pukanuka, where Seattle, I don't like Darnold at all. This is a game he chokes, but I can't see Seattle blowing out the Rams. If anything, I can see the Rams blowing out Seattle, but even then, I can't see that. Really good defense in Seattle. Rams have a good defense, but the Lions exposed them. They lit them up pretty good, but we had that game over. So here we see Seattle, strong defense, but 21-19 last time. I think you should get a game in the 20s, something like that. Philadelphia, Washington, Philly 6.5, 44.5. Philadelphia, an under team with a 16 defense. Washington, a Z team with the 28 defense. Washington's terrible. Mariota's okay, but they're not scoring. And Philly is very weak offensively. I don't know if it's the line, it's the play calling. Hurts is terrible, as we knew. Devontae Smith's been a major disappointment. He won the Heisman. That was a joke too. But I'd rather have, Puka Cooper Cup than Devontae Smith. So we'll get into who needs the game, but right now, Philly 5-1 is a road favorite. Play against Philly as a road favorite is 6-0. Play against Philly is 12-2. They're not covering this year. They're not as strong. Both Kansas City and Philadelphia kind of fell off the table this year. Kansas City, I'm not surprised. You go to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. You're always in the championship. You're just going to get tired. You're going to wear out. You didn't really replace. Kelsey stinks. You have none of the receivers really came to town, and their linemen, they got their offensive line injured. The defense is still good, but now you don't have Mahomes, so it's going to make it. But basically, both of those teams, the best team right now is Denver, and I would say the Rams are probably the best two teams. So Philly, Washington, you got Philly in a must-win game. I think they should handle Washington. They got a 16 defense. And Hurts should have a good day getting like they did against Oakland with the 28 defense of Washington. That's why I did the last 5. It's a truer look, because you get injuries and now they get worse. And then you see, but if you blend it in the full 15 games, or what are they, 14 games, the full 14 games, you get blended in. But now you just, okay, how are they doing the last 5 weeks? Then you get to the real teams, right? Green Bay goes to Chicago. Green Bay won 46.5. This is your free play. There's 1.5 you can get with Green Bay also. I really like the Bears as a home dog. It's your free play. I got them winning 27-17. You have no Micah Parsons. So can you explain to me why Green Bay is fucking favored at Chicago? Oh, Chicago's not that good. Caleb sucks. Oh, we know that. But they're 10-4, by the way. And they won at Philly, by the way. And they almost won at Green Bay. And then when they needed the win, they killed Cleveland with a good defense. At worst, this is a field goal game. At worst. And we got 7.5 in the Bears. This is your free play. Play against Green Bay is 11-2 as a road favorite. Chicago is 6-0 at home this year. 5-1 as a home dog. 12-2 in total. And that's all I can use because I didn't have the coach last year. So this is where the variables change gets you. You can't use last year's Bears. Just like I couldn't use Tom Brady his first year at Tampa or New England when Tom Brady left. Because he ain't there, the variables change. So here with the new coach and Caleb, they're 12-2, 6-0 at home. 5-1 is a home dog. So this is a very good team at home. Very good team overall, and they're a home dog. I think they're the better team. Why are they the dog? The Bears should be a 3-point favorite here. This makes no sense. So take your free play. Go Bears. Beat Packers. And it's warm there. It's not cold. Like I said, here it's warm. It's pretty much thawed out. It's in the 40s. Putin's turned up the temperature for us. All right, Tampa Bay, Carolina. This is a must-win for both teams. Tampa Bay 3, 45.5. The Baker against Young. All I got is Tampa 7-0 as a road favorite. With the injuries, you get mixed things, and I don't care about 70 or 75%. I'm only looking like 80, like 3 I'd go 3 losses. So that would be what? So they're 7-7. So if that's 14. So let's say they're 11-3 in a teaser, I would include it. But normally I'm looking for 12-2s or 13-1s. And of course, Denver, Houston, who are 14-0, our favorites. That's probably going to be the AFC Championship game, Denver and Houston. Now that you don't have Jacksonville sucks, Pitt and Baltimore suck. You don't have Kansas City. I don't see who else could possibly be in it. Ain't nobody beating Houston, and ain't nobody beating Denver. Not with my guy, Sean Payton. So in this game, If we have Carolina as the favorite, this would be a lock, Tampa Bay. Carolina's not that good. They're an under team with a 22. Tampa's a W team with a 30. They're not scoring, although they got Mike Evans back last week and put up 29. But in the blend of 5 games, they're not scoring in a couple of them. Hence the W, because I think they're scoring 20 and giving up 30. The concerning part here, they're giving up 30. But I think the way the game's going to go, I think Tampa will score more than the 20. And Carolina shouldn't have that big of a problem scoring on Tampa's 30 defense, although they are an under team. And we hate Steve Young. He's terrible. So Carolina they did beat the Rams somehow, and they're at home. So I think this ends up being points as opposed to I think Tampa wins because they got the Baker, right? They've got the better team. They've got the better quarterback. So I think they win it. But they're just their defense. I can't bet them because their defense sucks. Carolina's defense, on the other hand, is a 22. But I can't bet them because they have Steve Young. So I think the only way to bet them is points, the total. Minnesota goes to the Giants. Minnesota 43.5. Minnesota an under team with a 19 defense. The Giants a W with a 30. JJ against Dart, 2 minor league quarterbacks. Play against the Giants 26-5 and 12-2 this year. The 26-5 I normally wouldn't use because Dart, this is his first year, and I think the coach is new now, right? But basically you bet against them. Well, this year they're bet against them 12-2. Minnesota has nothing. They got JJ McCarthy. I mean, they went to Brosmer. They went to Carson Wentz. So they're a mess this year. They do have Jefferson. But they're an under team with a 19 defense, and the Giants a W with a 30. So I think Minnesota, again, if they were the dog, I'd like them. I don't like them as a favorite. I can't bet J.J. McCarthy as a favorite. That's not happening. So, again, it goes to the total. Do you go to the total? Minnesota with a pretty good defense. J.J. McCarthy, is he going to throw 4 picks or 4 touchdowns? You don't know. So this game I'm just watching. If the Giants went favorite, I would have probably taken Minnesota, but I still don't trust. Dart will probably get another concussion or something. The JETSs go to New Orleans, and New Orleans 4.5, 40.5. We've got Cook going again against Tyler Shaw. I mean, where do they find these quarterbacks? Cook, I believe, is from Missouri. He wasn't bad. The Jets a Z team with the 32 defense. Maybe they score a little bit more with Cook. What did they do last week? They lost 48-20 to Jacksonville. So they've checked out defensively, and that's what the last 5 shows you is the 32 defense. Even Tyler Shaw can find a little bit of points. I don't know if Kamara's playing. Maybe he'll play. I hate this. Well, let's not play him because there's nothing to play for, and we don't want to get him hurt. It's football. You're playing him. I hate that excuse. So the Jets with the Z team, 32, Cook, play against New Orleans, 11-2 this year. Play against the JETSs as a road dog, 7-1. Play against the Jets, 12-2 this year. So you're playing against New Orleans and you're playing against the Jets. You got to pick somebody. Total, the Jets give up 32, but New Orleans has a pretty good defense. It all looks like it's a New Orleans play because the Jets defense is so bad. Shaw's doing okay. New Orleans' defense is an 18, so they're playing pretty good defense. They just can't score. But you can't play the game under because we did that last week, and Jacksonville put up a 40. So not interested in the Jets under because they have a 32 defense. So you end up where you're scratching your head. And again, it's probably maybe you take New Orleans, but why the hell would you want to bet this game? Cincinnati, Miami. Cincinnati 47.5, 80 degrees. So no wind chills to worry about here. Uh, I got Cincinnati as a W over. Uh, they don't score a lot, but now they got Joe Burrow back. Now Joe Burrow killed Baltimore, and then he played good against Buffalo, and then he gets shut out by Baltimore because of the cold weather. So I think they are going to score in the 30s. They got a 28 defense, where Miami's got a B team, so they score in the mid 20s, give up 16. So their defense is playing good, except for last week when they ran into who the hell did they run into? Pittsburgh. Yeah, 28-15 to Pitt. So Aaron Rodgers can still play. So do they really have a 16 defense? And this is where the NFL is so confusing this year. It depends who they play. They play in New Orleans, the Jets, the Giants, it's a 16 defense. However, if they play a Baltimore, a Buffalo, a Philadelphia, Detroit, the better teams, they don't have a 16 defense. Where would you put Cincinnati? Well, that's why I called it an over. With Joe Burrow, Chase, T. Higgins looks like he's playing. I look at them more as an over team with the 28 defense than a W team, which means they score 20. I think they'll score 30, but they'll give up 28. So Miami's not going to stop Burrow, and Burrow is pissed off of his performance last week. And we've got Ewers. Are you really seriously thinking you're going to win with yours, or what is this? You want to lose on purpose? What's this yours? Cincinnati 7-0 is a road favorite. Play against Cincinnati this year and last 26-5. Play against them this year 12-2. But you haven't had Joe Burrow. He played the first 2 weeks and then the last 2 weeks. So they did good against Baltimore. They did good against Buffalo. They did good the first 2 weeks. But if you bet against them, the only time you lost was the Baltimore game when they killed Baltimore. So they're capable. I just don't see Burrow against yours. This is a joke. I think Cincinnati is the play here. I don't buy Miami with the 16 defense, although Cincinnati doesn't need the game. However, you got T. Higgins and Chase, and you got Burrow off of the performance he did last week. He will light this team up. So I like Cincinnati here. This has nothing to do with anything. There's no must win. They're out of the playoffs. It's just Joe Burrow being pissed off. KC and Tennessee, we've got KC 37.5. It's funny how it's 3.5. But if I go to scores and odds, there's 6 different lines maybe that you can find. KC an under team with the 22 defense. Even with Mahomes, they're not scoring. Now they're going to Minshew. Tennessee's a Z team with the 27. They're terrible. Ward's terrible. Play against is a home dog. Tennessee 9-1, 6-1 this year. Play against Tennessee last year and this year 27-4. This year 12-2. So you basically bet against Tennessee. They're a Z team. Now you got Minshew instead of Mahomes. Kelsey fighting for his life because he stinks. The other receivers aren't doing much. Pacheco's injured. I don't know if he's playing. You got Hunt. But these are little power guys. So not sure what you do. They're an under team. Total of 37.5. I think it's a little bit low. Minshew's not terrible. He did good at Philly. He did decent at Jacksonville. I think it was at Oakland too. He's not your problem here. Yeah, you want Mahomes, but they weren't scoring with Mahomes. So I don't see them scoring much here. I think they're live getting 3. They're -3 to +3. I think that's live, although they have nothing to play for. Their defense should show up. I don't think they're going to lay down. I don't think Andy Reid's going to have them lay down. Tennessee's laid down. They're the Z team. So I think KC wins the game, and your -3 goes to +3. All you need is KC to win it, and they can even lose by a point or two. They're not going to get blown out by Tennessee. I think it's just been a very hard schedule for Kansas City. If you notice, Baltimore, Buffalo, Philly, Detroit. They just didn't get the Rams in Seattle. And then they got Denver twice, San Diego twice. And then it was Houston and it was Jacksonville, and they lost to those two. So it's just been a very hard schedule, 8 or 9 very tough teams. And they're 6-8. And the 8 teams they lost to are all could be in the Super Bowl. So a very hard schedule, and here they finally get relief with Tennessee, and I think they're going to kill them. I just don't see Ward doing anything against this defense. They're not good at home. And KC, Reed will not let them quit. Neither will Spagnuolo. They're not just going to quit. Minshew's got an opportunity. So I think KC +3 should be good. But again, nothing to play for. Where do you go? Now, here's a game you do. Dallas, 2.5, 49.5 to San Diego. San Diego, an under team with an 18 and Herbert. Dallas, an over team with a 29 and Dak, Mr. 2 interceptions. No teaser trend here. San Diego used to be a great road dog, but they're not a dog on the road anymore. They're more road favorites than they are road dogs. So they're 2-0 or 3-0 as a road dog. They used to be like 22-1, and we used to bet them as road dogs. Anytime they were a road dog, we'd lock them and they'd win because they were good with Phillip Rivers and that. So here, this is a must-win game for both teams. Even though Dallas, it is a 1:00 game. So if Philly wins, they clinch and Dallas is out. San Diego's going to need it regardless. They're going for the wild card. They're the second wild. There's New England and Buffalo. There's Pitt, Baltimore, who's not getting a wild card. And then there's Jacksonville, Houston, 1 in, 1 wild card. And then here's San Diego and Denver, 1 in, 1 wild card. So it'll be, as of now, New England, Houston, San Diego is the wild card now. And he could catch him, but I doubt it. And Kansas City's eliminated, and there's nobody else left. Baltimore goes 10-7. That's it. But they're already 10-4. And so San Diego's in a must win. And San Diego's still trying to catch Denver. They're 2 games behind with 3 to play. So this is a must win for San Diego. For Dallas, I mean, they had their must win and lost. I just don't see them. They did beat KC at home, but this is a tough San Diego defense. So they won at KC last week. So I think they're a very live dog, San Diego. Over under, I don't know. It's a tough call because San Diego is they're a strong defensive team. Dallas, strong offensive team, an over team. What did we do last week? Dallas, Minnesota is 34-20. They give up 34 points to J.J. McCarthy, but they did score 26 on Minnesota. So looking at this, where am I, Dallas? 49. Do I go over 43 or under 55? San Diego should light them up pretty good. And Dallas, I don't know how much they'll light up San Diego. Pretty good. The game should be in the 20s, so it should be a 40. Probably go over or under in the game, but I don't like when I get a under and an over. I prefer the Lions with their always an over. They're always the over team like last week. That was a sweet lock having that with the Rams over. Buffalo, Cleveland, Buffalo 10, 41.5. We got Buffalo an over team, 25 defense. Cleveland a W team with the 24. We got Josh Allen against Prime Jr. We do not have weather to worry about in Cleveland. It's going to be mild. Buffalo has to win. They just beat New England, and they have to, if they want to catch them, they can't lose to Cleveland. Cleveland with Prime Jr., he's terrible. He can't read a defense. He can't read a blitz. He can't read shit. He just goes back, and then he hopes he finds somebody open. It's like playground football the way it is now. The quarterbacks just go and they all roll to the right and scramble around and try to find an open receiver. They don't know what a play is. They don't know, well, Joe's going to cut across the middle and Bill's going to cut the other way across the middle and set a pick, and there you go. They don't get that, right? So I don't know. Um, my Darius the second. Yeah, I forgot to do my picture. So again, Buffalo in a must-win after New England. Mild. Oh yeah, I was talking about the quarterbacks. They don't. I mean, if you watch Tom Brady, he would see the blitz and he would call it, and Wes Welker or whoever would run right to the spot, and it'd be 1-2, throw it. Like against Seattle and the Legion of Boom, they had 2 seconds to sack him. You know how many times they'd sack Prime Junior? They'd sack him 15 times in a game because he wouldn't know to go to throw any. He wouldn't see the blitz. You just go back. So that's the problem with him. So I think Buffalo. I wish it was. We would like to get it under a field goal. So here's where you might play a 7-point teaser to get it to 3. This is the rare time, but I really don't think it matters. I think Buffalo's going to kill them. I can't see them winning where, oh shit, we laid 4 and they won by 3. It could happen. We did the same thing with Houston last week. Houston was a 9, 9.5, 10, and they won by 20. And we're a little worried because CJ Stroud, but our defense is very strong. So Buffalo must win the game. Cleveland stinks, and Josh Allen. And I just, even if they play a bad first half like last week, they still come on. They have to win. They have to catch New England. It's a 1 o'clock game, and I think New England's on at night, so they'll know everything. Atlanta at Arizona. Atlanta 348. Atlanta W team with the 27 and Kirk Cousins. Arizona a Z team with the 34 and Brissett. Play against Arizona 13-1 and play against them 5-0 as a home dog. And they're a home dog, so they're not good at all at a home dog. So Arizona's terrible. They've checked out. A lot of their guys are injured. Brissett's not bad. Cousins is starting to play a little bit better, realizing this is his last opportunity, and he's probably more healthy, and he's using B. John Robinson better. So, again, I don't like that Atlanta's the favorite here. I'm getting a lot of road favorites, which I don't like, and the teams I want to go as the dog, I can't take Arizona in 9 here. Hard to bet on Kirk Cousins. He's so bad. So it's again, Atlanta probably wins, but from a betting standpoint, they're not a good bet in a teaser. Now, the game of the day, Jacksonville at Denver. I have very mixed emotions here. Denver 346.5. Jacksonville, an A team with a 15 defense, and that's real. And Lawrence and Denver, an under team with a 19 defense, and Bo Nix. As we know, Denver is a home favorite. The last 2 years, 11-0, which we can use because we've got Sean Payton and Nix, so we can use that 2-year trend. A lot of teams we can't, like Chicago. We didn't have Ben Johnson last year. I can't use last year's. So Denver's 11-0 as a home favorite, 5-0 this year. Denver 14-0 this year in the teaser, and 30-2 overall. So this is where it's confusing. I like Denver, but Jacksonville is playing really good ball, and they get the 15 defense. I can't. I don't know if I can take Jacksonville in 9, but the way they're playing, I think I could. They're running the ball a lot more. Hard to do on this defense of Denver, but Jacksonville shows the defense. I think this is a close game. The total of 46, I'm confused on. This looks like an under game with Denver and Jacksonville with a 15 defense and a 19 defense. But when I look at the 46, I'm kind of going. I'm kind of looking at giving. I'm kind of liking the being in the score being in the 40s. Although this dictates going under with the 15 and the 19 defense. And that's what I. So that's why I'm at with it. I'm struggling because Denver doesn't really score a lot, and they really don't blow you out. They play close games, which leads me to Jacksonville in 9. But how can I ignore Denver being 14-0 this year? And then the total of 15 defense and a 19. I got to look more at the games. I looked at. So the best way to do this. This is an advanced handicapping technique I'm going to show you. Is say, how did Jacksonville do against Houston? Because Houston also has this killer defense. So when we look at Jacksonville, we've got Jacksonville beat Houston 17-10, so they only scored 17 on them. They beat the Niners 26-21, but the Niners had injuries. They beat Kansas City 31-28, which is amazing. Seattle beat them 20-12, who's a similar team. They only scored 12 on. The Rams beat them 35-7, and that's the comparison. But Denver doesn't have an offense like that. And then we finally get to Jacksonville, Houston, and they played a 36-29. Houston won. So now I'm like, you gave up 36 to Houston, 35 to the Rams, 20 to Seattle, 28 to KC. Yeah, I probably don't think you have a real 15 defense. You do the last 5 because the last 5, you gave up 20 to the JETSs. You gave up 19 to Indy with the quarterback out. You gave up 3 to Tennessee. You gave up 24 to Arizona and 6 to San Diego. I don't know what happened in the San Diego game. So, yeah, Tennessee and the JETSs and an injured Indy team, you still gave up 20. Arizona was a 24 somehow, and San Diego was a 6. So you got a 6 San Diego and a 3 Tennessee in there, which are skewing the last 5 data. So they're really not this monster 15 team. So what you're looking at is how did they do against Seattle? Right? 20-12, Seattle beat them. The Rams really you can't compare because the Rams are much more explosive than Denver. But okay, 35-7. And so that's why it's the timing of the 5, right? If I did it after Seattle, the Rams, Jacksonville, Houston, and San Diego, it wouldn't be 15. It'd be Jacksonville getting the 15. So again, against Houston, they gave up 36, but they did score 29. Why? So let's focus on that game. You scored 35 on San Diego. You scored 29 on Houston with the killer defense. And then you scored 12 on Seattle and 7 on the Rams. So against the better teams, they're mixed. And they got beat pretty. So they lost to Seattle, lost to the Rams, lost to Houston. The only good team they beat was San Diego, and they beat Oakland 30-29. There you go. So even though it says 15, this is not an under game. And we know what Denver does. Let's take a look at Denver's all. And who are we comparing Jacksonville to? I don't know. So let's look at the last 5 or 6. So Denver beats. So they beat Green Bay 34-26, which you would have thought would have been an under team with Micah Parsons. Wasn't. Oakland, okay, 24-17. Washington, 27-26. They beat KC 22-19. Now that is kind of what I think here. I think they win the game to 46. Jesus Christ, not enough spam. My apologies, but it's, I don't know what to do with it. So the 22-19 over KC, and then Oakland a 10-7. And then they go to Houston and they win 18-15 there, beating that strong defense, playing an under game. They killed Dallas 44-24, the Giants, the Jets, but they go to Philly and win 21-17. That's the key game there. And before that, they lost to San Diego 23-20. Killed Cincinnati without Burrow. They lost to Indy 29-28 in a bullshit call, and beat Tennessee 20-12. So, let's go to the Houston game 18-15, but I don't think Jacksonville's got the Houston defense. KC's got a good defense. 22-19 is a 41, which would be a winner here. Then they play Washington 27-26, and then they beat Green Bay 34-26. I think Denver wins close because in the big games, Jacksonville doesn't show up. And then I think it's not an under, but an over. Because I think Jacksonville will score a lot because they've been scoring, but I don't think their defense is all that. And this is where the last 5, you've got to be careful and see who they're playing. So I was looking at taking Jacksonville at the 9, but I really can't go against Denver, who are 14-0 in a teaser. It's hard to make a living betting against that trend. Like I say, if red's hitting roulette, I want to play red. And in this case, if Denver is 14-0, I don't, and 30-2, I really don't want to fuck with them. They're laying 3, you get 3. Jacksonville, the way Denver comes back at the end with Sean Payton, it's hard to really blow them out. And the fact they beat Green Bay, they were losing to Green Bay by like 10, and then all of a sudden touchdown. Bo Nix got hot, and then it was all over. So they're very tough to beat at home. Jacksonville isn't that team. They're in first place, but they've beaten the Jets and the Giants and Tennessee, the Houston game. So in the Houston game, it was they did lose, and it was pretty high scoring. So I think That's the way you play it here. I think you can go Denver, you can go over in the total. Um, Jacksonville, they both need the game, but I think there's a big difference between Denver and Jacksonville, especially at Denver. At Jacksonville, maybe. At Denver, not a chance. Houston goes, Oakland goes to Houston. Houston 14-38. Oakland is Z team, falling fast, now having Kenny Pickett as their quarterback. But the alarming thing is they got a 29 defense. Now you got big problems, right? You got a defense that sucks and an offense that can't get a first down. Going into the best defensive team, Houston and Denver are the two best. As by the way, they're 30-3 in a teaser and 30-2 in a teaser, as they have the best defenses. Goes to show you who wins. This will probably be the AFC championship game, Houston and Denver, in my mind. Oakland, a Z team with the 29 defense, and Pickett, and Houston, an A team, starting to score more, 16 defense, and Stroud. Home favorite, Houston, 10-1. The last 2 years, 5-0. This year, 14-0 in a teaser. Thank you, God. 30-3 the last 2 years. Play against Oakland. Let's add insult to the injury. 6-1 as a road dog, and play against Oakland this year, 12-2. So this is all Houston. Now we're a little bit worried with the 14 points. The total on the game is 38. Maybe we go under. We know Oakland's certainly not going to score. The question is, how much will Houston score? And they've been running it up lately. I mean, they played a 40-20 game last week with the JETSs, and I thought for a minute, shit, did I play it under? Because I like playing Houston under with that defense. But I didn't. I played Houston minus the 3.5, and not the under. And I was happy I did. And same thing here. I think they're going to kill them. They're going to kill them. They're going to kill them. They must win the game. They are a game behind Jacksonville, who's got their hands full with Denver, as we see. Both games are on at 4. So as far as I can see, Houston's in a must-win game against the team that couldn't win a game in the Big Ten. Oakland, especially with Kenny Pickett, with the 29 defense. So Houston, I think, is just going to pound them. I think the defense takes control, shuts out. It should be the same score as the Philly game, 31-0 last week. And that would be my score here, 31-0. They get up enough, and then they get the big lead, and then they run. This is not college. They just run out the clock in the fourth quarter, a long running drive. That's how I see it. They must win the game. Pittsburgh and Detroit, this game I've been thinking long and hard about. Detroit 752. Pitt, I don't know if they're an under team. They're starting to score. Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf are starting to play better. Pitt, I got as an under team, but I think they're starting to score more. That's the last 5. They did score 29 on Baltimore, and then they scored last week 28 on Miami, who had a pretty good defense. So Pitt with Aaron Rodgers and Metcalf will light up Detroit. No pass rush, no secondary, no defensive coordinator, not much showing on the defensive end. However, you've got Detroit at home, must-win game. They're mathematically alive, but they're probably dead. Losing both to Green Bay, and Chicago probably beats Green Bay. And Green Bay with the 2-game lead on them with the tie. So Detroit, an over team. I have no teaser trends on either, as Detroit is not covering at home that much. They're not really a bet against. Pitt, they're both kind of inconsistent, so I don't have that 11-1, 10-2 trend on these teams. Rodgers against Golf, big edge to Rodgers. He's starting to find it. He's starting to play. They're playing for Rodgers. They beat Baltimore and Miami, and that game was at Baltimore, so it was a huge win. Detroit will get its points, and it looks like Pitt will get its points. Again, Pitt with the 21 defense, and Detroit with the 29 defense. So it's going to be Detroit scoring with Gibbs and the wide receiver St. Thomas. I don't know if Pitt can get a big pass rush without J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt or whatever the fuck his name is. And you got Pitt scoring with Aaron Rodgers, who's broke his wrist, but he's okay. They played a high-scoring game with the Bears, Miami, Baltimore. So I think they're scoring. We need 51, 52 here is 46, let's say, is 28-20. And I can't see that. Detroit will be in the 30s. Well, Pittsburgh doesn't have that defense, and Detroit has no defense. So Pitt, at worst case, Detroit wins 31 to 24. That's a 55, and we only need 46. The beauty of the teaser. So you can play Detroit. I'm not sure if you play Pitt plus 13, but that's probably good. And then total, you got to go over in the total. I think that is a good. Detroit's an over team, and Pitt is starting to score more. And it's that Baltimore game that I go, fuck, they scored. It was like 27-22. They played a 49 with Baltimore and Lamar. Well, Detroit's going to score more. Now, do we trust Detroit in a must-win at home to win the game? That's really the question. That's what I'm analyzing, debating with myself. Anyway, did you catch the high leverage handicapping method I showed you in the Denver Jacksonville game? You look at Jacksonville Houston and Jacksonville Rams and Jacksonville Seattle, and you realize Jacksonville didn't win any of those games. In fact, got blown out a couple of them. And that's what you look at as the comparable games. And I don't know if we can use Pitt Cincinnati because Joe Burrow didn't play. Otherwise, we would look at the Pitt Cincinnati game, which they're usually higher scoring, and we would say, well, that's what they'll do against Detroit. In fact, we can look at the Cincinnati. Well, let's see if they played other. Did they play Buffalo? I think Buffalo killed them. Let's look at last 5. They beat Baltimore 27-22. They lost 26-7 to Buffalo, but it was cold that day. The Bears 31-28. And here goes Cincinnati, but I think this is before Joe Burrow, 34-12. So they are scoring, except for the Buffalo game, 28, 28, 34. So they're really scoring a lot, Pittsburgh. Defensively, they're giving up 31 to the Bears, 26 to Buffalo, 22. But the Cincinnati game, I don't think I have it. Detroit put up 34 on a good Rams defense, 24 on a good Green Bay defense, and 9 on a great Philadelphia defense. Let's see what did Pitt play Cincinnati at all? See, Pitt's getting better because Aaron Rodgers wasn't there, so he's new this year. So he's still great, but you got to get that. So let's go back. Pitt somehow beat New England 21-14. That's crazy. Pitt kills Minnesota. They beat Cleveland 23-9. Here's Cincinnati. Okay. They lost 33-31 to Cincinnati. And I would say that's probably a similar score. Green Bay beat them 35-25, another high-scoring game. They beat Indy 27-20. San Diego 25-10. Then the next Cincinnati without Burrow. Then the Bears, that's high scoring. The Buffalo game was cold there. And then Baltimore's high scoring. So I think you go points. Baltimore and Pitt and the last week of the season. So it's Pitt, Detroit, Pitt, Cleveland. Well, that'll be a win, the Cleveland game. And then it'll all come down to the Baltimore game. And we already know Detroit. They can't play a good defense, but I don't think Pitt's defense is that good. So I think the total is probably a little bit better, but Detroit also in a must-win game, although Pitt's in a must-win game too. New England, Baltimore. Baltimore 348. What do we got here? We got New England 13-1, 6-0 on the road this year. New England an A team and Baltimore an under team. New England with an A team with a 21 defense. They got a pretty good defense, unless they're playing Buffalo. And they were playing Baltimore, so that's pretty close. Baltimore's very inconsistent. Lamar's terrible. New England an A team, 21. I think New England's a live dog here, getting 9 points. Drake May runs around. I just don't see Baltimore. The coach is terrible, and the quarterback's terrible. So they might do okay, but that's about it. So I think New England needs the game to stay up on Buffalo, and they haven't clinched yet. And Baltimore needs the game to stay with Pitt. So they both need the game. Baltimore probably needs it a little bit more because New England's in the playoffs just trying to win their division, where Baltimore is trying to get into the playoffs, need to win the division because they finish again against Pittsburgh. So if they lose this game, I don't know if they need to play. Well, Pittsburgh might lose. Pittsburgh will go. Pittsburgh's 8-6. They're gonna. Let's say they lose. They're 8-7. They'll be Cleveland 9-7. Baltimore loses. They're 7-8. They win next week. They're 8-8, and then it becomes they have to beat Pitt to go to 9-8, and Pitt would be 9-8. So, very much they need to win, as does Pitt. I mean, this is the Pitt Detroit game is a playoff game, as is New England Baltimore. But I think Baltimore has more to play for, but I still like New England as a live dog. As far as total, 48, I got New England an 18 with a 21 defense. However, they played a 60-point game with Buffalo last week. Baltimore, you can't trust Lamar. They're an under team. He's throwing so many bad plays. Is he still injured? Who the hell knows? I think he's always injured. A 23 defense is not the same. I would think this is an over game. New England plays a lot of high-scoring games, even though they got a decent defense. And Baltimore, it's up to Lamar. If Lamar throws the ball 5 feet over the guy's head, they don't score. They did play Pitt 27-22 of 49. I would think this game would be an over if Lamar doesn't overthrow all his receivers, and that's a big if. So I like the dog in the game and probably the over. And we get down to the Monday night game, the Niners at Indy. The Niners 6.5, 46.5. We got Purdy against Phillip Rivers. Frisco 5-0 is a road favorite. Frisco's an A team again with the 20 defense, and everybody's pretty much back. And Indy, an under team with the 25 defense, mostly Jonathan Taylor and Rivers. Now, they did well against Seattle. He threw a lot of good passes. They scored 15 points. I think they got a touchdown. The Niners will give you a good defense. It's hard because Rivers, hasn't played. All of a sudden, he's thrown in after 5 years. So we'll see how he recovers. In a teaser, there's 5 teams that are worth teasing: Chicago, LA, New England, Houston, and Denver. And play against Oakland, the Jets's, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Arizona, Philadelphia, the Giants, and New Orleans. Philadelphia is the only surprise. They're laying 6-7 points a game, and they're barely winning these games because Hurts is terrible. All the bad teams, the Giants, New Orleans, Arizona, Tennessee, the Jets, and Oakland. So it's just find your Z teams and bet against them. So who are our Z teams? We got Washington. We've got the Jets's. We've got Tennessee. We've got Arizona. We've got Oakland. And a couple of W teams, Cleveland, who's no bargain, Atlanta. Tampa Bay, I'm confused with. They actually grade out as a W team, but because they're not scoring and their defense is really bad. Terrible defense. They're 30 a game, which is unusual. It's just Winfield Jr. So the Baker can score and give up. So I don't know. The Giants are another W without the running, without Scattaboo. They're in trouble. And then let's look at the A teams. We got tonight the Rams, Seattle, Green Bay, and Chicago. Our B teams will include them. Well, Miami's a B team, but I don't think so. Jacksonville's an A team. Houston's an A team. New England's an A team. And the Niners are an A team. So A against Z is Houston against Oakland. Over against the Z's, Buffalo, Cleveland. We got a couple of unders against it, like New Orleans against the Jets. It's an under against the Z. Minnesota against the Giants, the same thing. And then Philadelphia, Washington. Philly's not much of an over team, but I got a feeling they need the game to clinch. So there's teams that need the game to clinch. Which is fine. And then there's A against A. Tonight, LA, Seattle. Normally you want to play the dog in those situations. Green Bay, Chicago. Not only the dog, but we get a home dog and their best players out. I can't figure out that game for the life of me. That's why it's the free play. Just take the Bears. They'll win. They'll win because Michael Parsons is out and we're getting 7.5 points. The trend, the number did change. The Rams were 1. Devontae Adams must be out, and then Seattle's now 1.5, and I've seen a 2. Tampa, Carolina. It's a playoff game. Again, please tease the dog. Or total. San Diego, Dallas. Playoff game. Tease the dog, and you get San Diego. Probably a good play. Buffalo. Cleveland, Buffalo needs the game. Jacksonville, Denver, a playoff game. What do you do with it? As we've uncovered Jacksonville, we pulled the curtain back and we see, well, yeah, they got killed by Seattle. They got killed by the Rams. And Houston beat them pretty good. So, yeah, they're beating the Jets in Tennessee and maybe Indy, but are they really that strong? Denver, we know, beat Kansas City and won at Philly, and beat Green Bay. So, yeah, they're the real deal. Houston in a must-win game. Pitt and Detroit's a playoff game. New England, Baltimore's a playoff game, and San Francisco. Indy needs it, but they got Rivers. Frisco needs it to clinch. They're still only a game, but they're only going to be if they win, they'll be tied with whoever loses tonight's game. And I think they play Seattle. So they hope Seattle wins. Then they can beat Seattle. And I think they can maybe win their division. I don't know. But they're only a game back. So you have a lot of teams needing it. So again, the Rams, Seattle playoff game, Philly, Green Bay, Chicago, Tampa Bay, Carolina, San Diego, Dallas, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Denver, Houston, Pitt, Detroit, New England, Baltimore, and Frisco, Indy. Now, I must harp this on you. Just because they need the game does not mean they win it. Keep that in mind. We've seen that many times in week 17 and now week 18, whatever. Team, they need the win, and they're in the playoffs and they lose. We've seen that a lot. So it's not an automatic just because they need it to win. But you are looking at Houston is not losing to Oakland. And what else do we got? Buffalo is not losing to Cleveland. They might have lost some earlier games, but now just a few games left. And they beat New England last week. They're not going to be flat because they beat New England. They're going to pound them. And Philly, Washington's the other one where Philly needs the game to clinch and Washington sucks. So I don't look at Philly to let down. So probably Philly, Buffalo, and Houston will probably kill them, kill them, kill them. And then the others, do you take the dog or do you, well, we know the Bears, we took the dog. So that is pro football. Weather, let's check weather. As I said, most of the weather was fine. And obviously tonight's 46 and raining, 14-mile-an-hour winds, the Rams, Seattle. Will that affect it? At kickoff, 46, feels like 44, so no wind. 14-mile-an-hour winds, but no wind chill. And you're going to have rain. Second quarter, 44, 13-mile-an-hour winds. Third quarter, 45 and 13-mile-an-hour winds. In the fourth quarter, 45, 13-mile-an-hour winds. Now, we are going to get rain. The question is, how much does that affect the game? Is Stafford not going to be able to throw the ball? Darnold, we question anyway. There's a huge quarterback edge in this game with Stafford over Darnell because you just don't. Darnell chokes. Philly, Washington, we got 35 degrees and 9 mile an hour. There's always some wind, but 35. And, does it go down to the bottom of the stadium? I mean, the wind's going to hit the stadium and kind of go over. Does it then go down and affect the game, or does it just go up and get blocked by the stadium? And is it really not that effective? I don't know. I think more in college where they don't have the same type of stadiums that they do in the pros. So Philly, 35 degrees should be fine. Green Bay, Chicago, 34 and clear. Let's check. I think the wind chill is in the 20s. Feels like 21. So you're going to get a 20, 21, 23, 22. So still doable for these teams. Chicago's going to run it down their throat, and they played in a zero degrees last week, so not anything new. Buffalo, Cleveland, 28, mostly cloudy. 28 feels like 20, 15-mile-an-hour winds. Second quarter, 20, 15 mile. Third quarter, 20, 15 mile. Fourth quarter, 20 and 15 mile. So you're going to get some wind, and it'll feel like 20, which is nothing for Buffalo and Cleveland. Buffalo, being in Buffalo, plays in far worse. They played the Cincinnati game. It was far colder. And they'll be focused on having to win. San Diego, Dallas, you're in a dome. KC, Tennessee, 47 with showers. So you're going to get some rain this weekend. Again, 47, it won't bother Kansas City. The Jets go to New Orleans in a dome. Minnesota goes to the Giants, 38, slight snow. So it'll be lower 30s there. Shouldn't be a problem. Tampa Bay, Carolina, 59, no problem and clear. Since he goes to Miami, 81, 8-mile-an-hour wind, slight chance of rain. It won't bother Joe Burrow. Jacksonville, Denver, 50 degrees and sunny, no problems. Atlanta, Arizona in a dome. Pitt, Detroit in a dome. Oakland and at Houston in a dome. New England, Baltimore, 35, slight chance of snow. Well, let's investigate. Kickoff, 35. Now, this is a 4:30 game. This is the 8 o'clock game. Feels like 28, 11-mile-an-hour winds. Slight chance of snow, which is nothing. We prefer snow to rain anyway. Second quarter, 26, 11-mile-an-hour winds. Third quarter, 31, 10-mile-an-hour. No, let's go 26, then 24, and fourth quarter, 22. So not a problem for New England, who's in the cold, and Baltimore. So a little bit, slight chance of snow, nothing really. And then Frisco goes to Indy in a dome. So really no major weather issues. All right, and our last look is the injuries. You can see all the things we need to look at to handicap, which I'm sure most people. That's why most people like little mathematicals. They're too lazy and too stupid to actually do this type of research. Plus, when you add my teaser trends, how many people know Denver is 14-0 in a teaser this year? Probably me and you, and that's it. NFL news, injury updates. The Dolphins bench Tagovailoa, and we'll start Quinn Ewers. So we really like Cincinnati more. It'll be all these short passes by Miami. I don't know about total because you're dealing with Joe Burrow, who's going to go crazy with Chase, and you're going to go with Quinn Ewers, who probably won't complete a pass over 10 yards. Probably have 2 or 3 interceptions. So I don't see them scoring a lot. All right, let's see. Let's see. Obviously, we know Patrick Mahomes is out. Obviously, we know Micah Parsons is out. Nothing new. Phillip Rivers, quarterback of Indy. The Colts open. Anthony Richardson's 21 day. I'd rather have Rivers than Anthony Richardson. He wants to run anyway. Bucks Mike Evans not planning on retiring anytime soon. We don't care. We want to look at the injury report. The Rams faced travel issues yesterday. They're supposed to be leaving for Seattle in the afternoon, but are apparently facing an equipment issue with the plane. Well, I assume by now they got a new plane, but I do like they were traveling on Wednesday for a Thursday game. That was very smart. I assume they got there. Devontae Adams is, as of yesterday night, doubtful for the game. We're assuming he's out. We don't. We got Puka-Nuka. We're not figuring on him. So, but he's not out yet. They're going to give him till game time. So, will he take the needle or not? Seahawks tackle Josh Jones will start at left tackle. So their best tackle is out for Seattle. There you go. There's always injuries, so you really can't just look at it. The key injuries: is Stafford playing? Is Puka-Nuka playing? That's that. If they're playing, everything else is minor. I don't care about when they say they did not practice on Wednesday. Who cares? Lamar Jackson misses practice. Well, he's obviously got an injury, so that's why we're not really gung-ho on him. He should be playing receiver like Anton Randall L. or some of these guys, or Freddie Solomon for the Niners. I pointed out when they won their first Super Bowl, Freddie Solomon, a quarterback at Tampa, was their wide receiver with Dwight Clark. And Joe Montana had no problem. The key was Joe Montana not putting Freddie Solomon in. T. Higgins concussion practice on Wednesday. So I don't really have a new update on this. Jets rookie Brady Cook to start again. Oh, joy. Falcons Drake London will participate in Wednesday's practice. We get him back. Do we really want to bet Atlanta over Arizona? I don't think so. Chiefs wide receiver Rashid Rice in concussion protocol. The whole league's in concussion protocol. Mahomes expected to take 9 months to recover, probably a year. It's the same thing that Cam Rising had. Yeah, when you see this, Myles Garrett not expected to practice, he's just resting. He doesn't need to practice on a Wednesday. Dolphins bench Tagovailoa. Yeah. I don't know. They have such bad quarterbacks. Quinn Ewers, the other guy is even worse. So I don't really see a big injury report. The Bears moving to Indiana as their new stadium because they can't get their thing done. Can't get a lease. That's all I see for now. We'll see more tomorrow. But in the game tonight, it's Devontae Adams. Does he take the shot for the hamstring or not? Let's go to college. So I'm just going to really I'll talk about major games and playoffs just through this weekend. Now, again, for $200, you get all the bowls and all the pros through the Super Bowl. $100, you can get all the bowl games. And otherwise, there's no real package for the pros, or because I'm just assuming $200 is a great discount for the pros, and you get all the way through the Super Bowl. It's $75 a week if you just take the pros. Well, 3 weeks is $225, and we got 7-8 weeks to go. All right. Weird that they're having them this week, but okay. And let's see. Memphis plays NC State Friday. NC State 3.5, 57.5. And again, we got to see, like, the South Florida quarterback didn't play and they got killed. NC State, Memphis. NC State 3.5, 57.5. Down from 4.5. Well, it looks like 5.5. So, we'd have to see, is the NC State quarterback playing. That's why I just want to go to the playoff games. We don't have to worry about that. Nobody is sitting out. All right. Alabama is at Oklahoma. Oklahoma 1.5, 41.5. This keeps moving. It was one. Let's see. I'm going to go to scores and odds where I get multiple casinos. So I know more or less. Is this a dummy line or, all right, we got it. Oklahoma 1.5. We got an Alabama 1.5. We got an Alabama 1, an Alabama minus 1.5, minus 1.5, minus 1.5, minus. So basically, there's one casino, whatever this is, has Oklahoma 1.5. So fuck that. Alabama's still a 1.5, as far as I can see. And looks like a 41.5, 40.5. So I don't get where they're getting 40. I don't have any casino with 41.5. They're all 40.5s. All right, so we'll leave it alone. That's why I don't care for Yahoo. You don't know where they're getting their number, and then here, everywhere else, Alabama's minus 1.5. So we got on Friday night, Alabama, the 18 with the 17 defense, Oklahoma with the B with the 13. Simply means Oklahoma doesn't score as much. Their quarterback's not very good. Their offense isn't very good, but they got a real strong defense. They beat Oklahoma 24-20 in Alabama on a pick six on an 80-yard play. So now we question how good Ty Simpson is, as he's giving up to a team that can't score a pick six. Should be a strong defensive game. Alabama with the 17 defense, Oklahoma with the 13 defense. It's at Oklahoma, so Oklahoma is probably a live dog here, as well as the points, the total. Probably a lower scoring game. It could be in the 40s, but Oklahoma plays them well defensively. They did last year. They did this year. Next game. A&M 3.5, 48.5. Down from 50.5. We'll go 49 and split the difference. They're both A teams. Miami with the 13 defense, it's pretty good. A&M with the 22 haven't played anybody. They played a lot of over games with Notre Dame, with Arkansas. The Texas game, we needed 1 point. The guy threw 2 fucking interceptions on us. That was the only lock loser I had. That should never have been a loser. You're down 10 with the ball at the 10-yard line. Just kick your field goal, which you have to do anyway. You need it anyway. Unbelievable. Is Miami a live dog here? They got a good defense. The game's at A&M. How much does that affect it? And we will see. But I don't think A&M's all that. Losing to Texas was bad. And Miami, do they really have a good defense? So we'll have to check their schedule to see what they really are. The next game, Ole Miss, 17.5, 56.5 with a new coach. So whatchamacallit, he takes the LSU job, but he doesn't even stay to coach because Ole Miss was so mad at him for leaving that they said, we don't want you to coach. So him and all his coordinators have moved on to LSU. So they got a whole new group. They'll keep the same system. I think it's one of the guys who stayed will be the head coach. I don't know if he's an official head coach. This is a tough one. Tulane's a good team, obviously, a 22 defense. Ole Miss an 18 with a 20, but it's mostly Lane Kiffin's offense. Now, Chambliss, a running quarterback who can throw okay, pretty good stats. I don't know. They played a huge game with Georgia. Georgia won it. So does Tulane have the offense to light up Ole Miss? And that's the case. And our last game is Oregon 21-47.5 or 20. Let's see. Do we have a 20 in here? 21.5. Now they all jump back to 21.5. So it's 21 and 47.5. So what was that about? It went from 21.5 to 20, back to 21 and 47.5. Both A teams, but different worlds. James Madison, a Sun Belt team, going against Oregon, whose only loss was to or Indiana, 30-20 at home. I don't see any way Oregon loses. The others are kind of, well, Ole Miss because the new coach. Otherwise, Ole Miss would kill them. Miami and A&M, it's a hard call. Do you tease the dog? How good's the defense? And how good's A&M's defense? I think it's a live dog there, and I think Alabama, Oklahoma is definitely a live dog, as Oklahoma's the home dog. I don't know why Alabama's favored. Oklahoma playing really tough defense. Mator, the quarterback's average, but I don't know how good Simpsons is for Alabama. You thought he was really good, and then now he threw some pick sixes. He looked terrible against Georgia. So I don't really. Alabama being favored makes the same thing as Green Bay being favored. It makes no sense. So that is this weekend's games. And then we go down. So you can play Memphis, NC State, but I'd rather concentrate on the playoffs. And then, so my week is Tuesday to Monday. So on Monday Night Football, you'll get San Francisco, Indiana. You'll get the playoff games because they're Friday and Saturday. And then the week rolls over, I believe, Tuesday, Washington State, Utah State, and all those games. with the next playoff being the 31st and 1st, which I think is 2 weeks away. Yeah, the 20th. So then the 27th, 28th. Yeah. So then, well, this week's playoffs, and next week will be 8 or 9 bowl games, or more than that. A lot on the 30th and 31st, which I believe are the next weeks. And then we get the Ohio State, Texas Tech, Indy, and Georgia, and then we'll get the cut. That'll be 8 teams left. We'll cut to 4, and we'll have the final 4, and then the final game. So you get all that for the bowls for 100, or you buy the 200 and you get all these. Well worth it. It's Christmas, so I want you guys to go buy gold and silver before you can. So I mean, the only clear cut winner this week I see is Oregon, and Texas A&M Miami is live dog, and Alabama Oklahoma is a live dog. Mississippi's hard because of the coach. They'll probably win, but Lane Kiffin knew how to call the plays. It's like the guy from Detroit went to Chicago. Detroit's struggling, and then to get Chicago all of a sudden found an offense, even though Caleb still sucks. We will see. Anyway, so that's what we got. And then I think my guess is Texas Tech wins it all. They're the most complete team. They have the best defense. They have a star quarterback, star running back, star defensive players. So that's I think they're the number one team. And then Georgia is, yeah, I mean they played well against Alabama and Georgia Tech, so their defense is coming alive. And then Ohio State, I think Indiana is I think it's Texas Tech 1, Indiana 2, and Ohio State and Georgia are right there 3 and 4. I don't see Ohio State winning with the freshman quarterback. Texas Tech, Morton is a senior. He'll go high in the draft, I believe. And Mendoza is also a senior. So I think Ohio State's problem is their quarterback, which is the same problem Alabama has. They got freshman quarterback. They do not do well in these games. And Georgia, I think, is a sophomore. So if Texas doesn't win, I'll be shocked. All right. That is college football. Again, so James Madison's an A15 and Oregon's an A14. Tulane's an E22, and Ole Miss is an 18 with a 20 defense. That's what I mean. Miami of Florida an 18 with a 13 defense, and A&M an 18 with a 22, and Alabama an A with a 17, and Oklahoma a B with a 13. So the A just means they score a lot. They have a good defense. And the B means they don't score as much. And I'm making really notes for me to know, well, Oklahoma doesn't score much, which I already know, and they have a really good defense. So maybe you go under, maybe you take Oklahoma. All right. So we can't end the war in the Ukraine for some reason. It just keeps going and going and going. This picture is actually Amsterdam. I went to Amsterdam Christmas, this one with the lights. And you can see there was nobody there. They had closed it. They actually closed Amsterdam. It was crazy. And so I took some pictures of basically nobody but the lights and stuff.
Congratulations, guys, on another great year. Thank you so much for your contribution.
almost eerie pattern is emerging.
All right, so this one here is auto loans are in crisis. So people are not being able to pay off their car loans. What happens? Let's follow it. So the problem is people are losing their jobs because of this massive inflation and all these wars, a lot of unemployment. People can't pay their auto loans. Who does that hurt? Hurts the banks. The bank works by loaning out their money and expecting to get repaid. And then they create real estate trust, or probably auto loan trust, where you can buy 50 loans and assuming that people will pay, and they'll give you, instead of 3% interest, they'll give you a 6% interest. That's what a real estate loan is. Yeah, you're buying the mortgages and you're getting a bigger percentage. That's the draw, because they get 8-9% from people. And so they can give you 5-6%, where the normal bank gives you 2 or 3%. Oh yeah, but gold doesn't give you any. Yeah. Terrible, isn't it? Yeah, we're not making any money in gold or silver. No, no, no. But they don't give us a dividend or interest. So what happens to the banks? The banks are counting on this money to come in. And they don't have it, right? So if I'm a bank, I'm counting on you guys. I'm loaning you money for cars, and you're going to pay me back because you want your car. And then on the other hand, I'm loaning it out to a tech on Wall Street guy, saying I'm going to give you 6% instead of 3 in the bank, because I'm getting 8% on these auto loans. And so that's the whole point. But if party A, the people with the loans, don't pay me, I don't want their cars. I want the money. So if they don't pay me, then attack on Wall Street guy, I gotta delete his real estate trust or his car trust and say, yeah, gosh darn it, we had to delist it because we're not getting the money in. So we're getting fucked. We don't get fucked. We're the bank. So we're gonna fuck you. And that's what happens on these real estate trusts. So the whole city of Vegas is fucked because they won't be able, with no customers, they're not able to pay the rents. And if they can't pay the rents, then if you have a real estate trust with Caesar's Palace, you won't get paid. They'll make up something and delete it. That's why the best thing to own is this, because they can't fuck around with it. There's nothing they can do to fuck around with it, right? They can't. Once you have it, they have it. Now, the best thing they can do is try to price fix it in Comex, and they've been playing that game for 50 years until BRICS came along, and China and Russia and India and Saudi Arabia going, yeah, you want to lower the price? We'll buy it, and we want delivery. And now you're fucked because you can't keep playing your stupid game of Ponzi scheme North. Well, we're gonna price fix it. Doesn't work. It can't work. Not anymore, because there's buyers. Once the physical got in, the game was over. And so with the real estate trust, basically, people will not pay their cars, and they'll do it with houses, and they'll do it with Caesars, these hotel resorts. They're also doing real estate trusts with those. So if you want to have a Caesar's Palace real estate trust, you're out of your mind. They're not going to be able to pay it off. So you can't pay it. So that's really what's happening. So when they say auto loan in crisis, it's really the banks are in crisis. It means people are losing their job. That shows you how bad the economy is. People are losing their jobs. People can't pay their auto loans. The banks crumble because the banks need the money. That's how a bank lives. They loan the money out with interest, and they get it back. Now, considering the money comes from nowhere and they just print it out of thin air, how do they charge interest on it? That's the biggest scam there is. So they charge you interest, and when they can't get it, they fuck the people doing the real estate trust. What a game they have. This guy, the biggest idiot in the world, a George Soros lackey. This is Britain. 712,000 people in a year have left, and it's really bad in England. Do not go there.
The numbers are staggering. Nearly 700,000 left Britain in just 1 year alone. This is a record high that beats figures since the Second World War. Why do millions of citizens now call the UK a third world country?
Is there a mass exodus from the UK? Emigration. 693,000 people left the UK, the highest number since the 1920s.
A mass exodus from what Elon Musk has branded a prison island as young, white, native Brits flee.
Let's dig into the reasons. Reason number 1, the terrifying collapse of safety. Britain has officially become Europe's machete capital. 50,500 stabbing attacks in just a single year. Machete attacks have skyrocketed by 370% compared to 2000. Parents are simply terrified to let their children out after 7 p.m. Let's go further. Keir Starmer publicly promised, "We will get tough on sexual predators." In reality, grooming gangs continue to rampage on the streets, with hundreds of abusers attacking girls of all ages across the entire UK. Critics warn the real numbers could reach tens of thousands, as a huge portion of crimes remains in the shadows. And what about Starmer? "We will step up patrols." He chooses to fight the symptoms rather than the roots. In London, a smartphone is stolen every 3 minutes. The police hint that investigating these crimes is senseless. Add to this that the police have officially banned revealing the nationality and religion of criminals to avoid fueling conflict. Reason number 2, the migrant crisis. Analysts are screaming that Keir Starmer is literally destroying Britain. Up to 1,000 illegals are crossing the border on small boats. £8 million a day is being spent housing migrants. Young men from Africa and the Middle East have flooded 3-star hotels where they live for free and get 3 meals a day. Starmer calls this tolerance. The opposition calls it Britain's self-destruction. Following this, the government scrapped winter fuel payments for 10 million pensioners to plug budget holes. Nigel Farage stated that in reality, this is to raise social payments for migrants to keep them dependent on the Labour Party. Reason number 3, the housing dead end. It is virtually impossible for young people to rent a home. While 700,000 newcomers are imported into Britain, prices are simply skyrocketing to the heavens. The math is simple. It is more profitable for a landlord to rent an apartment to a group of 6 arrivals than to a young couple. It is claimed that every second new apartment in England actually goes to cover demand created by migration, rather than the needs of the local population.
They're pretty fucked up there. So the safety is gone. They're catering to the migrants, giving them money and housing and letting their own people go. Where are these 600, 700,000 people going? Probably mostly Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the US, maybe Switzerland. This whole migrant thing is ridiculous. Why are they letting them in the country? It's one thing if they're vacationing. They're there for a week. But why do they keep letting these people in? What is wrong with this Starmer? Doesn't he understand what he's doing? Apparently he does. This takes you to why is he doing it? Because George Soros put him in. George Soros wants to crash the world because the Nazis lost, basically. He's a Nazi, George Soros. He's a billionaire and he just hates humanity, basically. So why this guy's still alive? Putin was going after him, but he obviously didn't get him or couldn't get him. I don't know what Soros has that nobody can get him, but he's terrible. He makes Hitler look like a Boy Scout. So you have this in France, you have this in the UK, you have it in Germany. Where you don't have it is in Asia and Russia. That's why there's the war with Russia. Is Russia won't tolerate this. So they're not letting all these immigrants in. And then so what Starmer wants is I'll let the immigrants in and they'll vote for me. And then I can be president, or prime minister for the next 10 years or whatever. That's why he's doing. So he's trying to buy votes because nobody likes him. How he got in the first place, I have no idea. How he's still there, I have no idea. But it's a crime. So here's Britain. Please do not vacation there. I don't know if you'll end up back here. The Sphere in Las Vegas. Let's take a look at that. That's always fun to laugh at Las
You can
Vegas.
help save the lives of children like Beckett by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Yeah, I don't think.
Sphere. Part 4. And finally, it's the glittering new addition to the Las Vegas skyline.
Well, I was enchanted too. I mean, it was awesome. We designed it, we visualized it, and it's so big.
It's one of the newest attractions of the Strip. Concerts have some of the hottest tickets in Vegas, but the company behind the Sphere is reporting big losses. Sphere Entertainment executives reported a $125 million loss and $127 million in revenue for its recent quarter.
Welcome to Sphere.
A $2.3 billion gamble is unraveling fast. Sphere Las Vegas was supposed to redefine entertainment in America, a glowing symbol of technological ambition rising from the desert, promising to merge live performance, cinema, and advertising into one revolutionary experience. But less than 2 years after opening, the numbers tell a far more troubling story. Despite sold-out headlines and viral visuals, the venue has reported repeated operating losses quarter after quarter. Revenue has grown, but expenses have grown faster, leaving a widening gap between spectacle and sustainability. Ticket prices that once signaled exclusivity are now raising questions about demand. A business model built around massive residency shows has struggled to deliver consistent profit. Advertising revenue from the iconic exterior screen has proven volatile and seasonal. And behind the scenes, cost controls and staff reductions suggest deeper financial pressure. This is not just a story about one building in Las Vegas. It is a case study in how ambition, technology, and consumer behavior collide in modern America. When innovation moves faster than the market, even the most breathtaking projects can face harsh reality. So the question is no longer whether the Sphere looks impressive. The question is whether this $2.3 billion experiment can ever justify its cost, or whether it will become a warning for the future of big entertainment. Part 1, Built to Amaze, Inside the Sphere's Grand Ambition. Let's rewind for a moment. Before the losses, before the layoffs, before the headlines. The Sphere was never meant to be ordinary. From the moment construction began, it was clear this wasn't just another Vegas venue. This was ambition in its purest form. A moon-sized LED marvel that would stand out even in a city built to dazzle. The project was spearheaded by Madison Square Garden Entertainment, with CEO James Dolan at the helm. His vision was bold: create a fully immersive experience that could blend live concerts, cinematic storytelling, and global brand advertising, all under one futuristic dome. The final result? A building standing 366 feet tall and spanning over 516 feet in width, with a seating capacity for more than 18,000 guests. The exterior alone, a wraparound LED display called the Exosphere, covers over 580,000 square feet, making it the largest of its kind in the world. Inside, the main venue houses a curved 16K resolution screen designed to completely surround the audience. Paired with patented spatial audio systems and haptic floor technology, the Sphere promised a level of sensory immersion never seen before. The launch was just as dramatic. Irish rock band U2 headlined the grand opening in late 2023, marking the beginning of what many saw as a new era for Las Vegas entertainment.
They looked so incredibly real on the stage. My mind was totally blown.
We are about to see the most amazing concert film in the world.
It's a private pre-screening of the YouTube movie, and we're so excited. We're so excited.
During one where it looked like Bono was singing right to us. It was like the real band was there.
And I feel just overwhelmed being with this tribe tonight.
It's freaking chef's kiss.
Early reviews were glowing. Critics hailed the visuals as mind-blowing, the sound as otherworldly, and the venue itself as the future of live performance. In those early months, it felt like the Sphere had lived up to every promise. But building the future came at a cost that would soon become the center of the story. Part 2, Beneath the Glow, Losses That Can't Be Ignored.
Tonight, I'm going to be going to a show here, and I'm going to join about 17,000 other people who have paid hundreds of dollars for the privilege to come and watch a one-of-a-kind concert Well, inside this sphere. And the people that are coming tonight are like me. They've paid hundreds of dollars and some thousands of dollars, not me, but them, to come see the show here. And if you do the math there, 17,000 people times that amount of money per ticket, that adds up pretty fast. It's a shit ton of money. And the problem is the sphere isn't making any money. In fact, in its first year of operation, it lost over $100 million.
But even the most spectacular structures can't escape the gravity of numbers. Behind the stunning visuals and sold-out headlines, a different narrative was forming. One written in balance sheets and earnings calls. In its first full fiscal year, the Sphere reported a total operating loss of nearly $500 million. That's not a dip. That's a crater. Let's break it down. In the first quarter of 2025, revenue dropped to just under $160 million. Compared to the previous year, that's an 8% decline, largely due to the absence of big-ticket advertising events like the Super Bowl. More concerning was the operating loss, over $90 million in just 3 months. The second quarter looks slightly better. Revenue climbed to around $175 million, marking a modest rebound. Operating losses began to shrink, and for the first time, the Sphere's adjusted income was marginally positive. By the third quarter, revenue held steady at about $174 million, and the loss, while still steep at over $80 million, showed signs of narrowing. In other words, the Sphere was bleeding less, but it was still bleeding. Over the span of 9 months in 2025, Sphere Entertainment pulled in more than $500 million in revenue. Impressive on the surface. But when costs exceed income by such a wide margin, revenue becomes just a number, not a victory. This wasn't a simple case of a slow start. It was a wake-up call. Because as the headlines focused on the LED magic outside, investors and analysts were starting to question what was really happening inside. And when a $2.3 billion project starts showing structural financial cracks, people pay attention. Part 3, too big to scale? The risks of luxury entertainment. So, how did a venue that wowed audiences start worrying investors? The answer lies in the core of its business model, and the cracks were built in from the start. The Sphere wasn't designed like a typical arena that books dozens of events a month, from sports to concerts to conventions. Instead, it focused heavily on residency performances, long-running shows by top-tier artists like U2 or the Eagles, meant to anchor the venue's calendar for weeks at a time. At first glance, it made sense. Secure a handful of blockbuster acts, guarantee high-ticket demand, and build a brand around premium, immersive experiences. But the economics of residencies are tricky. Superstar artists don't come cheap, and most demand a large share of the ticket revenue. That leaves the venue with higher production costs and thinner margins, especially when the rest of the building is sitting idle between shows. Then there's the issue of price. Tickets for Sphere events often range from $200 to over $500. For tourists looking for a once-in-a-lifetime experience, that might be fine. But for repeat local audiences or families, it's a hard sell, especially when cheaper entertainment options are everywhere in Vegas. Data also shows a drop in resale value. As the initial buzz cooled, tickets to shows like the Eagles fell significantly on secondary markets, indicating waning demand and overpricing. And if people aren't willing to pay top dollar, the revenue ceiling becomes a real problem. Beyond that, the Sphere's dependence on the exosphere, the massive exterior LED screen, for advertising income has proven volatile. While brands were eager to debut campaigns during events like the Super Bowl, demand has been inconsistent throughout the rest of the year. And with high costs to operate the screen 24/7, that's a risky revenue stream to depend on. All of this adds up to a venue facing a perfect.
So, what happened? Let's break it down. What's the first thing I say? You want to go into business, what's your cost? Can you sell your product over your cost? If you can't, get out. You don't have competition, so you really don't know what's going on, right? Well, how much can I get for tickets? How much can then there's the parking and the food and all that crap. How much can I charge for that? And are people going to pay for it? Probably not. Just like the resort fees and the food and the drink at the casinos. No. So $2.3 billion you paid for it. Now that's a fixed cost, but they have annual operating cost and maintenance cost, and every time they change the lights. Plus, who really gives a shit about the Eagles and YouTube? Am I going to run to see that? I can put it on my phone and listen to them on YouTube. Do I want to pay $500 to see them? No. The experience is nice if it was like a $10, $20 thing to go to the zoo and you walk in that you know how they have those underground aquariums where you see the sharks swimming over you and the octopuses and everything else, and you're paying $10 or $20. It's a nice experience one time, but once I've been there, done that, it's not worth. I'm not going to pay $500 a ticket if I got a family of four, $2,000 in the middle of massive inflation. Yeah, I'm not working. My money's worthless. Yeah, I probably don't want to go see a 50-year-old rock band, the Eagles, that I really don't like anyway. So you end up, how many times are you going to show sharks and swimming and colors? And okay, the first time, but that's it. As he said, the travelers will come in, the tourists will come in. But what did you do? You killed the tourists because the idiots just want whales. Well, the whales aren't going to this show. I mean, maybe they are, but once they're not. They got better things to do in Vegas. So by getting rid of all the people, which is what you've done, you've killed all the restaurants, you've killed all the gambling. Some people come for the nightclub and spend $500 on a bottle of champagne once. It's the repeat business that you don't have and you won't get, and then and then you have a lot of other stuff like that. So it's not it's a stupid idea. It's like a Tesla, right? An electric car. Nobody really wants it. And nobody's going to spend that much for it because nobody sees the need for it. It's an electric car. Who cares? And that's really what you're doing. You are, you don't know what your business is, and obviously you can't sell enough. You can't get entertainment in there. The Eagles and YouTube, oh boy, if that's your entertainment, nobody's coming to watch them in this thing. Now, is it cool? Well, it looks like something at Disney where the seats go back and forth and rock, with the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, or some ride like that. The Back to the Future ride, the seats. Okay, fine. So you're trying to be Disney. What's that got to do with gambling? Nothing. Why am I seeing it? It's cool. Okay, yes, it is. I'll see it once. I'm not going to make that. Oh, do you want $200, $250? I'd rather pay $150 for Cirque du Soleil, which I did at the Bellagio. The water one was $150, which I did once and won't do again. Most of the other Cirque du Soleils were like $50 or $85. So you have no demand for it, and you can't recover what your cost is. Again, rule number one, what are my costs? Can I sell my item to cover my cost? Can I make profit at it? So he built it for $2.3 million, the Madison Square Garden guy, but he didn't ask the question, can I make money at it? What do I need to make money at it? Can I charge $500 a ticket? Well, the locals aren't going to go for it. And maybe the visitors will come, but we've chased them all away. So it's the stupidest thing to build at this time when you're killing your customers. Well, we just want to sell the whales. Well, 10 whales isn't going to make your $2.3 billion go away. So you got a big problem there with the whole concept of Vegas being we only want whales, and we're not, and we're killing all our foot traffic. You're shutting out the restaurants, you're shutting out the hotels, and then anything like this you're shutting out. I'm surprised anybody goes to the Raider games, as bad as they are. The Oakland A's will be moving there. So they're broke and they're trying to get money from Oakland from the Raiders came, and now the A's are coming because they're going to pay a lot for the ballparks. And that's what Vegas needs. It's like going to war. You're going to war to steal the gold and the oil. That's why you go to war. And if you notice, like the U.S. is Venezuela. They got a lot of oil and gold. The Ukraine, a lot of minerals and oil and gold there. Iran, a lot of oil and gold there, or a lot of oil anyway. So they're going after these places that have high oil to steal the oil because we're broke. And that's what Vegas is doing. They're broke. So they're bringing in the A's, they're bringing in the Raiders. They got some hockey team, the Scarlet Knights or whatever. But it's the last place you'd want to build a $2.3 billion thing. It is not the first place. If I was going to do that, and I wouldn't do it, but if I had to, I'd do it in Macau because I got all the gamblers there. Now, is this for gambling? Should it be next to Disney World? Should it be in California? Although California's taxes are too high. Where should I put something like this? And it's certainly not in Vegas. That'd be the last place I'd put it because you're killing the tourism. You're killing the people. So the last thing I want is to put some expensive thing that I got to roll over, and I don't have entertainment for it. Say the Eagles and the U2 is my entertainment. Okay, again, I'll watch it once, but I'm not going to – it's like Netflix, right? You get the movies. Back to the Future. Oh, okay, I'll watch it. And then it goes away for a few months and it comes back. I've already watched it 2 or 3 times when it was on. I'm not watching it again. And that's where you've got the problem. How many times am I going to watch it? So that's Netflix's problem because they don't have a good variety of movies. But here, what do they got? If you got to go to the Eagles, you got big problems. They're like 90 years old. And if you're relying on them to draw people in, I might see one show, but that's it. And that's the problem. So it's too expensive. You can't recover your costs. You have the 2.3 billion, and you can't generate that. And you're not going to get repeat business. And since you've killed the tourists coming in, you've lost all that business. So it was just like the other thing. Well, we'll raise parking fees and resort fees because we'll get tourists to come in and then they'll go home. We'll get we'll keep getting the new tourists. So we won't have any people that, repeat business, right? We won't count on repeat business. We'll be the only business in the world that doesn't want repeat business because what every business wants is repeat business. So when you have that, you got big problems. And that's where you go with it. So it's ridiculous that you have that. So that's what you're looking at. It'll be bankrupt because you can't cover your costs. I mean, it's a simple business model, Austrian economics. Can I make Canadian Club, but I'm going to sell 1,000 cases of this because it's 12 years old and I need to make $50. Can I sell it for $50? And the difference is you have your other whiskeys and you have other 12-year-olds and you can see they get $50 so you can make it. But to build a Sphere for $2.3 billion, which is not needed, nobody needs the Sphere. Golfing, you go because you like to golf and you get repeat business. Tennis maybe, but food, yes, repeat. But do you get repeat business with Sphere? And I don't think you do. So I think that's the problem. You don't really get the repeat business. And that's the problem with any business model. If you're selling golf clubs, you want repeat business, tennis rackets, food, clothes. I want customers to keep coming back. You're not going to get that with the Sphere. Plus, you're too expensive. And you're in the middle of a recession. And you're in the middle of massive inflation. Probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So when the Sphere goes out, it's because your expense is too high. And then their maintenance. And if you got to change it, and to think you'll keep getting people to come, you're killing the visitors to Vegas. Who's going to come to it? But again, you want repeat business. You don't want people to go away. I don't know when I see this guy. This is a colonel. To every American, they're robbing you blind. And I'm like, he's not an economist. He's listening to people like me, and then he's shouting out. But where do you know that? So there's a lot of problems in the Ukraine. And again, if you have kidney issues, go to our doctor. Dr. Vinnie Boomba or Sten Ekberg. And Daria's fine now with her kidneys. So that was good. Is there anything else? So again, the red alert, Odessa and Kharkov in critical danger. Russia's basically taken all of it. And why the war's still going on, I have no idea. Why it even started, I have no idea. It's the stupidest war in the world. They just hate Russia because George Soros is fighting with Putin, I guess. And for all you Mother Hubbard fans, the bizarre truth behind the Mother Hubbard nursery rhyme. I like these. They keep showing like the nursery rhymes and what they really are. This one was about Queen Elizabeth I, married to King Henry, Henry VIII, and this is Henry. And it's a lot of them are about the king and the queen and that. And that's the point of it. So it's interesting because you think Snow White's this cute Disney tale, and it's dark, and it's the mother wanting to kill the daughter type of thing, and it's really that's the way life was back then in the 1700s. Is it too late for gold from Egon? We'll play this and leave.
We started with buying gold for wealth preservation purposes for ourselves and for the investors that we advised at the beginning of the century. And we bought a lot of gold around 2000, 2002 at about $300. At the time, I said to our investors that you should really have at least 50% of your financial assets in physical gold outside the banking system. And that's what we created at the time, the best system for buying and preserving gold outside the banking system in the right jurisdiction like Switzerland or also Singapore. Since then, so we bought an average of $300, and today we are over $4,000, $4,100. So we're up
4,300, Egan.
And a lot of people also believe it's gone too fast now. Gold has gone up too much. Nobody understands that we're not talking about a commodity that is just being lifted up and priced by speculators. No, we're talking about a fundamental shift in the thinking of money, and also a fundamental and permanent shift in how you actually hold money and in what form you hold money. If a currency has gone down like the dollar or the euro and most Western currencies and even Eastern currencies by 99% since 1971, we have only 1% to go for it to fall to zero. And that's going to happen in the next few years. People ask, well, it's gone up so much. Is it too late to jump on the gold wagon? This is what this painting reflects. Here's the gold wagon, and here are people trying to catch it. And the band is playing, obviously. The expression was, of course, originally, is it too late to jump on the bandwagon? But we are calling it the gold wagon here. I'm telling my colleagues and I'm telling clients that all the gold has gone up now since we started from 300 to over 4,000. We haven't really started yet this move that I'm seeing in the coming years, because nobody owns gold today. It's still only about 0.5% of world financial assets in gold. That's going to change. Central banks are now shifting relatively fast, but it's mainly Eastern and Southern central banks, not Western central banks. They're shifting the dollar assets because they can't trust the dollar anymore since the US confiscated the Russian assets. And therefore they're shifting from dollar assets, dollar treasuries, to gold. And that shift is going to take a few years. They're not going to rush it, but that will create a constant demand for gold. On top of that, the BRICS countries are increasing their holdings of gold continuously, and there just will not be enough gold to satisfy the massive demand we're going to see. And that, of course, this demand between the central banks and BRICS countries will also then develop into normal investors buying gold, which they're not owning gold today, but they will
Okay, so what's a market? Market is where there's demand and there's supply, and people demand what they have. So is there a market for gold? Yes, people want it, and there is gold to sell. That's a market, and it's a small market, but it's getting big, and there's not enough supply to captivate the demand, so much higher prices. That's the real price of gold and silver, not this COMEX bullshit. But that's a market. Is there a market for electric vehicles? Absolutely not. Nobody cares. Nobody wants it. I'm perfectly happy with my Toyota Camry with my gas power, using gas. But then I'm going to take you to Vegas. Is there a market for the Sphere? So aren't I clever? I've kind of wheeled around into it. I just thought of it as I was watching that. What does that mean? Well, you built the Sphere, but was there a market for it? In other words, with gold, there's a market. Everybody wants gold. It's our precious. It's our baby. Everybody wants it. It has a value. Off it goes. Same thing with silver. There's a market for it. Is there a market for the Sphere? And if it is, what's the price? I'll come into the Sphere. I'm not paying $500 to watch a 1970s band. That's not why I would go in. And if I really want, I'd go to one of these aquariums and watch the sharks over my head. That's fine. Is there a real thing to go into the Sphere? And it's like a Disney ride. The seats go back and forth. Been there, done that. Is there a demand for it? At Disney, maybe, but not here. Is there demand? Like the Disney wants to charge $150. There's no market at Disney for $150. There's no market for Universal Studios at $150. There's no market for the Sphere at $300, $400, $500 to go see a concert or to see it. Well, it's really cool. The seat shake and the look at the pretty colors. Yeah, okay. Not for $500. There isn't. So they're trying, this is the problem that Vegas is having. They're trying to create false markets called malinvestments. Let's charge for parking and resort fees and hire for liquor and food and hire, for shopping. There's no market for that. Who are you selling to? People don't want to pay resort. Nobody wants to pay for it, meaning there's no market. There's no market for parking. There's no market for resort fees. And, none of those, there's no market for a $30 hamburger. Gordon Ramsay, I guess, was some sort of meat dish for $300. Good luck, Gordon. You're barking up the wrong tree. We don't want to pay that. We want to get a hamburger for $10. We're fine with it, right? So he's out. He's looking for a place there's no market for. So he needs to understand what his market is. As I say with the ribs, the barbecue place, if you try to sell for $45, you have no market. You'll be out of business. You've got to keep the ribs at $30 where your market's at. And he's still in business. The other two, there was three of them. The other two are out of business because they obviously raised their prices and people stopped going because there is no market there. So the critical thing about business is find your market, and that's what you cater to. When you're building a Sphere, was there a market to build it? No. And if there's no market to build it, what the fuck are you doing building it? You're an idiot. In these stadiums, there is a market to watch a football game, let's say. But they don't pay off. That's why it's public money. They only play, 9 games a year. So Detroit plays 9 games a year in Detroit. The other 8 games are on the road. What else do you use the stadium for? Nothing. So that's the problem with football stadiums. They're used so little, they never get their amounts back. Oh, well, if we have playoffs, then we can we can do that. And that's really what you have. So you have to find the market. And without a market, you can't build things. I can't go and try to sell, I don't know. I don't know. I can't sell green pens because everybody wants red or blue or black, right? So it's hard to sell a green one. Something like that, right? Well, not even that, but just the idea that there's no market for it, and then you've got to figure out the price. Maybe the Sphere would work if you charge $50 to go in and look around. But how many times am I going in? I'm going into one, and then you're too expensive for me to go back in. I've been there, done it. So you got me one time. And that's the biggest business problem, is to not get repeat business. So you built something that there's no market for, there's no repeat business for. Oh, gold. Yeah. Is there a market? Absolutely. Is there repeat business? Absolutely. We want more. We want 100 ounces. We want 500 ounces. Silver, we want 1,000 ounces. There's huge demand and huge repeat business in them. And they're limited, so the price goes up. So people are rewarded by buying the physical. That's the thing. An apple, okay. I had my apple for breakfast, and okay, good. And I ate it. And you know what? I'm going to get another one because they're good and they're healthy. And I'll go back to the store and they'll get repeat business because you're only charging me $1.50 for the apple or whatever, $1.50 a pound. Where if you want to start charging $20 for a steak, there's no market for it and there's no repeat business for it. So until you come down to 10, I think it was $13 Thanksgiving, until you came down to 13, then there was a market. And then I'm going to buy 2 or 3 of them before the price goes back up, which is what I bought 2, and I ate one, and I got one in the freezer. But that's the whole point of it. You're trying to do things. You're trying to listen to the market. The market's the key. I teaser football bets. Mostly football, a little baseball, but mostly football. Is there a market for it? Yes, it's a bet. Yes, people bet it. People make a lot of money on teasers. I make a lot of money on teasers. Okay, there's a market because we can make money at it. Because I'm good to pick it and I'm good to make money at it. And that's why you pay for it, because you found the market. I'm a bettor. I want to bet teasers because all the games are fixed, but not the teasers aren't. And so I'm gonna pay him to get his picks so I can do that. And that's why I do not like when people try to get picks for free, like this bowling guy is trying to do. Give me your picks for free. No. You got to pay for my picks. You especially of all know that because you have an agreement to pay, and now you're welshing on that agreement. And then you come in and you want to get picks. See, that's dishonest, and we don't like that. But basically, I give you a free pick to help you out. It's a good game. Last week it won. This week we hope it wins the Bears. I'll probably give a bowl game out or a playoff game by Saturday. Again, it's only Thursday. But there's a market for it, right? People are willing to pay me for my picks so they can bet and make money. So there is a market for it, and there's repeat customers. And that's the goal of any business, is you want repeat customers. So what is the Sphere? There's no market for it. There's no repeat customers. Who's going to pay $400 or $500 to see the Eagles play? How many times? Okay, well, it's cool to see a band play in a lighted area and things like that. Okay, so that experience, but I'm not going to pay $500 every week for it. Now I do need to eat, but if Gordon Ramsay's charging me $100 for a hamburger, I'll go somewhere else. Gordon, there's no market for a $100 hamburger. And he doesn't understand that. And that's why businesses fail. They don't understand their market. They raise prices as a way to break even, which doesn't work. It never works. In fact, you should lower your prices and try to get the other things. So if Caesars would lower their prices and lower their gambling and stop at the resort fees and stop. And I heard half of the rooms at Caesars suck anyway. A lot of mold, mushrooms, water problems. I don't know who it's a 2-star hotel now. It's really not a 5-star. So you want to go and then get, I'll come back 3 or 4 times a year. It's only $75. It's got to be affordable. There's got to be a market for it. There's no market for what Vegas is doing. And all these, they call them profit centers, where they're going to, we'll make so much money on food and drinks and parking and resort fees. Who's the idiot with that idea? Doesn't even understand what a market is or what business is. He should be fired for his ideas, because you don't have a market for people paying for parking. Where's your market? Show me one person that wants to pay for parking. Well, we could charge for it. No, you can't charge for it. You chase people away. When you do that, you don't get the gambling, you don't get the eating, the drinking, the shopping. So explain where that's a good idea. You bring in one guy and then you chase out all his family. Yeah, probably not a good idea. And that's what we have there. And again, you have to know what the market is. The market for Vegas has been substantiated in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Keep it low, keep it cheap. Let the people come and lose their money gambling. Have a pool. Don't charge for parking. Don't charge resort fees. Caesars has like $300 million in maintenance that needs to be done for air conditioning, elevators, hotel stuff. And they can't do it because they got to pay the interest on their debt. And so it's like a Motel 6 now, except for it's called Caesar's Palace. It's crumbling because you can't keep the maintenance cost up, because you're not making money, because you fucking are paying yourself rent. What kind of market is that? So keep in mind, anything has to have a market. If I offer a product, if I offer the Stardust, is there a market? Can I sell this for $10? What is the market? Is there a market? And then what can I sell it for? And there is a market. People like these old casino chips, and I could probably get $10 or $20. People will pay because it's closed and it's been, blown up, just like 9/11, the 2 towers. Notice the similarities when I was watching that collapse and the 9/11 collapse. Very, very similar. So, in other words, do people want what I'm selling? And if they do, what will they pay for it? That's the first 2 questions, not let me build this and see if anybody wants it, and I have no idea what price they'll pay. It's insane. It's just like football, like people going to the Raiders game in Vegas. Is there any demand for it? No. This is Vegas, not Oakland. You should never have football or baseball in Vegas. That's a no-no. You want to keep that clean. Are these games real or fixed or whatever? And so is there a market for that? Well, the Raiders, let's say they put the Raiders in Detroit. Is there demand for it? No. Until recently, there was no demand for Detroit. So just because you have the Raiders and you can put them anywhere, let's put them in New Jersey. Are they going to have a fan base? No, look at San Diego. They moved from San Diego to LA. They don't have a fan base. Half the stadium is the other team when San Diego plays. So keep that in mind. You must know, do you have a market? Meaning, is there demand for whatever product I want to sell? Now, you can copycat and make a restaurant. There's demand. People have to eat. People have to shop. Can we come out with, Columbia? We'll call it Teaser King. Can we do Teaser King clothes? Yeah, we could. Is there a demand for them? Well, yeah, if we do them nice and we keep the price point at low enough that people will buy it. So if you make a good product that looks pretty and is a affordable price, people will buy it, because everybody wants clothes and everybody has to eat. So there's always food and water and stuff like that. And that's really the thing. So I'm going to let you go. And we will see you tomorrow. Again, my friend, we're going to go up north to get her some Christmas stuff, and nowhere to be seen. So I'm off to the pool soon. And anyway, tonight's game, the Rams and Seattle. Seattle 1.5, 44.5. Probably got Devontae Adams probably out, but it's a pulled hamstring. Will he take the needle like in North Dallas 40? In Seattle, again, Stafford against Darnell, it's not close. Stafford's much better. And they can't guard Pukanuka. Now, Seattle with a great defense and the Rams with a very good defense. Again, they're 21. Seattle's a 14 roughly, but a lot of it's who they played. So they're both about 20 defenses. So it should probably be on the lower score. There should be some rain. And you can take the dog if you prefer Seattle at home. The Rams had jet problems yesterday, but I assume that they got that fixed. They just switched planes. And that's it. They're a strong road favorite, 11-1 on the road, the Rams, 28-5 the last 33 games. Play against Seattle as a home dog, 6-0. I got to change that because they're now a home favorite. So I have to identify what they are as a home favorite. Well, I have to do that now as the game is tonight. So let's see what Seattle is as a home favorite. I have all this on a spreadsheet. I'm probably the only one that does it because I'm probably the only one who can think of doing this kind of stuff because I think fifth dimensionally. So Rams are now a road dog. They're 1-0 as a road dog this year. And Seattle is a home favorite. It's 4-2, 3-3 against. And I'll look at last 24-25. Let's see what the Rams are as a road dog. They are 5-1 as a road dog. So they're 14-2 on the road, the Rams, last year plus this year, which we can use. They're also 5-1 against as a road dog. Seattle is 7-3 as a home favorite, 5-5 if you go against them. So not much difference there. And that's what we got. So good luck on the game today. I have played the game. www.teaserking.com. Go to purchase picks. You can get this week's, or you can buy the rest of the year for $200. I give a lot of opinions here. That doesn't mean they're picks. And you don't know what the locks are. You don't know the strength of the picks. That's for my market who want to buy the picks get. And so I got a good market, but I want a better market. I want a bigger market. Not whales. I'm not going to raise my price. I want $5,000 a week. I'm only after the whales, and I'll get nobody. So anyway, that's it. So www.teaserking.com. Have a good week. Good luck tonight. Enjoy the game, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. Take care, everybody. We got Christmas in a week. Unbelievable. I said that Thanksgiving to the lifeguards. I said, it's Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, and Christmas will be here tomorrow. And it's like tomorrow, and here's Christmas and New Year's and things like that. Anyway, have a good day then. I will talk to you tomorrow. Good luck on your game today, and I'll give you a free college playoff pick out of the 4 games this week. All right. Take care, everybody.